Do you know that forgiveness can prevent lifestyle diseases like cancer, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases? Hey, this is Sajeev Nair. I am a wellness evangelist and a biohacker. Welcome to Biohack. Forgiveness is not a new subject. It has been discussed well right from the Vedic times. If you look at Bible, Quran, or Bhagavad Gita, all of those holy books, they all talk about forgiveness as the most important thing. And we have been taught in the spiritual classes about forgiveness. Even after being taught about forgiveness right from our childhood, so it is so difficult to practice, right? In another perspective, I know there are lots of people who understand that forgiveness and gratefulness are the two important qualities which one needs to practice to achieve higher levels of success in life. Gratefulness is still okay. People are practicing gratefulness. They're grateful about their life. They're grateful about all the things what has happened in their life. They are grateful about all the blessings they have got in their life. But when it comes to forgiveness, I am seeing that it's becoming very difficult for people to practice. That is why I'm trying to address this issue from a scientific and a logical perspective. For me also, it was not easy. When I understood the science, that was the time I decided that, okay, I need to practice it for my health. Not for any philosophy, not for any spiritual reasons. It's for my health. In 2005-06, I was doing a research on a subject called Thought Process Reengineering, TPR. The same time, I was a co-founder of a company, Wellness Solutions. The founder of that company is Dr. A. Srikumar, who has already become a well-known functional medicine practitioner in the world right now. And also, he is also the president for Indian Nutritional Medical Association. So when we founded this company, our objective was actually to provide wellness and helping people to maintain good health. But at the same time, we all know that we talk about, or people think about health only when they are sick, only when they have a challenge with the health. We think about our breath only when there is breathlessness, right? Even though we started it as a wellness clinic, most of the people who used to come, they were all sick. Interestingly, even cancer patients who are being rejected by the hospital used to come to our clinic. So as part of one of the retreats what doctor conducted, I got a chance to interact with some of the patients, and majority of them were cancer patients. I was actually doing a research on forgiveness at that point of time. I asked these patients a question very informally. I think they were about 24 of them. That in a window of 2 years prior to the date on which you were detected with cancer, did you undergo any level of high stress? I hope you understood the question. Out of 24, 22 agreed that they underwent severe level of stress. They could remember, they could recollect. Interestingly, 90% of them have undergone almost the same type of stress. What is that stress? They are being betrayed. They are being cheated by somebody. They are being cheated by their business partner. They are being cheated by their life partner. The daughter whom they have brought up with a lot of love and affection, she went away with somebody else. So which created a lot of hatred and grudge in their mind. It's not anger, it is hatred and grudge. They started cursing that person. They created that grudge and hatred so much that it was burning in their mind. Now let us understand, when hatred or grudge kind of a thing happens in you, what is the kind of neurochemical, biochemical reaction which happens in your body? That is more important right now at this point of time. Because we all know that hatred, jealousy or grudge, they are not good. But still we carry it because we don't know what kind of damage they create to us. The brain doesn't detect any stress. Brain only detects fear. If you look at our ancestors, those who were living in the jungle, maybe 20,000, 50,000 years back, during that time, their brain had only three functions. One was food. They need to find out food. They need to look for security, and they need to have sex to reproduction, just for reproduction. Out of which security was the most important because they were among the wild animals. So all the time the reptilian brain, the brainstem, the reptilian brain was always active. It was always under fear, under threat. When the reptilian brain becomes under threat, a complete neurochemical, biochemical reaction happening in your body. You have adrenal gland which sits on top of the kidney. And this adrenal gland secretes adrenaline and also cortisol. These are two hormones which we call the stress hormones. That is why when you have fear, it comes from your abdomen part, not from the brain. So when you are uncertain, actually this thing happened from your abdomen, lower part of your body, not from the upper part of the body, right? Because of the adrenaline rush. So the adrenal glands always secrete adrenaline and cortisol whenever you are under stress. But adrenal glands are not your brain. They are not intelligent. They cannot differentiate a stress and a happiness. So how do they secrete and who gives the order? Adrenal glands are under the control of the main gland in your brain, which is called pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is in control of all the hormones, all the other glands. And pituitary glands give the command to adrenal to secrete adrenaline and cortisol. And pituitary gland is well under control of something called hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is considered to be a brain center, which actually reads all the emotions which goes through your brain. All the activities happening in your body is being read by hypothalamus. Now, when you are undergoing a stress, what happens is the reptilian brain activates because it senses a fear. The moment it senses a fear, the hypothalamus sends a signal to the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland activates adrenal, and adrenal pumps adrenaline and cortisol, which gets flooded in your body. Basically, why it's happening? Primarily because you are under threat. That is what your reptilian brain is saying. You need to either run away or fight with the situation. Because the reptilian brain detects your boss equal to a wild animal. The reptilian brain also detects even sometimes your wife as a wild animal. So it's the same fear which is being created by the reptilian brain. Now what happens? Why this is happening? So it results in your heartbeat going up, your breath rate going up, your muscles becomes tightened. Why? Because your brain is ordering you to run away from the situation or fight. And to run away or to fight, you need to have your heart beating higher rate and you need to have your breath rate going up. You need to really fight with the situation, and also your muscles become so tightened. And one more thing happens in your body. Your muscles have stored glucose, excess glucose in your body as glycogen inside the muscles. At this point of time, when this hormone secrete, the muscles break and then it releases glycogen as glucose into your body. Why? Because the glucose is right now required by the cells to generate energy, because glucose is the fuel for energy. Now look at the scenario. What all things are happening right now? Number one, your heart rate going up, your breath rate going up, your glucose level going up. The moment your glucose level going up, automatically your insulin level goes up because the pancreas secretes insulin. Why? Because the insulin has to push all the glucose into various cells so that, it becomes fuel. But if you're under continuous stress, if you're carrying a hatred or a grudge in your mind, you are carrying a continuous stress, a perennial stress. That means the glucose level is always continuously up because the adrenaline and cortisol is always up. So that point of time, insulin cannot do much, which leads to insulin resistance. Some of you must have heard that insulin resistance is a precursor for type 2 diabetes. And when you have type 2 diabetes, I can tell you that this starts the metabolic syndrome, whereby the type 2 diabetes leads to either obesity or maybe high blood pressure or cardiovascular diseases. Whenever we talk about sugar, we always think only about diabetes. But the most dangerous thing is not diabetes. You may have cancer cells in your body. You don't know. We have a genetic company called V Genomics. We have done close to about 800 to 900 genetic tests, wellness genetic tests in the last 1 year. We found that almost 70% of the people who got tested carry one or another type of mutation which can lead to cancer. That doesn't mean that they're going to have cancer. They have a higher risk for cancer. If they come across the right kind of environments, the chances of cancer getting expressed in them is very high. Now, what is this right kind of environment? The right kind of environment, one is that the cancer cells need food. And you know what cancer cells eat? Sugar. If your body is continuously in oversupply of glucose, your cancer cells are having a party time. They will grow, they will flourish all around. So what all things are happening in your body right now? Just think about it. Just because you are carrying a hatred and a grudge against a person, your entire metabolic system got damaged. You have a high glucose level, unnecessarily your heart is beating high, you have a breath rate having absolutely no control, and your cancer cells are being fed properly. Your higher level of glucose can lead to insulin resistance, which leads to type 2 diabetes, which can lead to many other issues. In fact, when you are actually carrying hatred and grudge in your mind, you are feeding cancer, you are feeding diabetes, you are feeding cardiovascular disease, you are feeding Alzheimer's, you are feeding Parkinson's. And the person about whom you are having this grudge and hatred, that person may not even know that you are carrying that kind of a hatred in your mind. Think about it. So by having hatred and grudge in your mind, you are actually absolutely killing yourself. You are not killing the other person against whom you are having the hatred. You are killing yourself. This is such a tragedy. And what is straight bang opposite to hatred and grudge? Forgiveness. The only one way you can remove hatred and grudge is forgive. If you start forgiving that person, this all issue disappears. So from now onwards, not from a philosophical point of view, not from a spiritual point of view, just for your health, just for your wellness, just to live long, just to stay young, you need to practice forgiveness. If you're carrying hatred and grudge about anybody, remove it right now. Just tell yourself that any person does anything as per his consciousness is right. I am no one to judge his consciousness. I forgive him. Not for him, not for anybody else, not for the world. Just for your health and wellness. Just for you to live long and stay young. So practice forgiveness, live healthy, live long and stay young. See you next time.